All right, everybody. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to One Objective tonight, guys. We got a really great show lined up, as I always say, but it's going to be an interesting show tonight because we're gonna have actually a different co-host tonight. James won't be able to join us, and James been feeling under the weather. He's had a lot going on, and then kind of just got a sinus infection, so James been down for the count for a little bit, but we're going to have the legend on, as you can see in the title, the man, the myth, the legend, Jason Hensley on tonight. So, but Chris, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Hey, how's your weekend? I know you wouldn't have had no time to go fishing, nothing like that.
A little too cold anyway. So,
yeah. The wind. It's been a little windy. So
yeah.
But I do plan on. I know we was talking earlier about maybe going out and doing some fishing next weekend. So, but we're probably going to wait till that warms up a little bit. It looks like the temp's going to be in the low 30s, something like that in the mornings right now. So
yeah, it was pretty cold this morning too.
Yeah,
had frost on the ground.
Yeah, so we'll wait till the sun comes up a little bit and then get on out there and do some fishing. I don't know where we're gonna go yet. We're gonna figure out something, but anyways, guys, like I said, we got a really good show lined up tonight. Jason Hensley. If y'all haven't followed him on social media, you need to. He has caught some really big bass out of a low. I'll see if he wants to talk about that lake. Now, a lot of the locals around here are going to know where he fishes. They already know, but I don't know if he wants to bring much attention to it. So I'm not going to say much about the name of the lake. But he's caught some monsters, and it's within tournament rules and all that. There's no because some of the lakes here in Virginia now are under that whole the CPR tournament. You can't do CPR tournaments there because you're doing cash prizes. So, but this lake has no rules with that, but it's a big fish factory. Once you figure out how to catch them, it seems like you can kind of, stay with them. So anyways, Jason's had a lot of online wins. He's done really well for himself in it. So we'll be getting him on here shortly. But guys, we got a lot to talk about tonight. And Chris, he's going to be monitoring the computer there and the chat boxes, and we're going to be going over a couple big things. One, the merger with Bonafide. Chris, I know you've we talked just briefly about that.
They talked about it. The guy talked about it.
Yeah, Scott.
Yeah.
Yep, Scott Brozier or Butchard, however people say. Scott, I'm sorry, I butchered your last name, man. I don't remember to say your name right at the end, but I say at the end, your last name. But anyways, he did. If y'all missed it, you need to go back and watch the weigh-in with him and Luther. And I've had people ask us if we was going to get Luther on, and I think it's not going to be that great of a show when it comes down to it, because Scott did such a great job doing that interview and getting so much information out of Luther on it, because it can be kind of touchy, doing the merger. They're shutting down the Bonafide plant down in Greensville, South Carolina, and they're moving it to North Carolina, where native and all that's being made, and Hurricane and all of them. So it was several good people that lost their job at Bonafide because they couldn't go with the merger.
Yeah.
So, it's a bittersweet feeling, which a lot of those people too that lost their job is they understand the nature of the business and what needs to happen. So it's a double-edged sword. And like I said, I don't want to keep putting Luther through that, because Luther, with Yak Tak Bonafide, they're a great sponsor for the show. And I just don't see no sense in him having to keep going to all these different shows and talking about that when Scott did such a good job. Everybody could go to that right there and watch that show. So we're not going to have him on, but we're going to have Jason on, because he's on with the Bonafide team as well with us. So kind of get his take on it and what he thinks about it. Big news too from Jason. We'll be talking about that a little bit with One Objective and all that. So we'll get into that in a little while. But we got that going on. You got so much stuff going on in the kayaking industry with the tournaments. Everybody knows about the new scheduling that came out. Chad Hoover talked about that a couple of months ago, how they're doing all that. And then we also have the Major League Fishing announced the 2020 schedule, which, a lot of kayaker guys, they don't really care about that stuff. But we cover it all, So we're going to be going over that schedule a little bit. But then also you got the new tournament series that's coming out. The National Professional Fishing League. So it's supposed to be a whole nother pro series for, somebody who wants to go pro. But I'm reading over some things, and I'm just, I don't understand some of it when it comes to it's a 125 angler field, but I don't know if it's a qualifying or if you just say, hey, I got the money to put up, I want to get in it, and if it got the spots open, I guess anybody can do it.
Yeah,
so
I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Plan on getting the people on that's surrounding this new tournament series on maybe next weekend. I got to talk to some people so we can get them on. So, but anyways, Chris, what time we got right now?
9:06.
9:06. We'll work on getting Jason on here in just a little bit. But first off, I want to thank all of our sponsors we have for our show. These guys have done a whole lot for our show, especially with our Christmas giveaways, which that is not far away. So we're going to be talking to some sponsors this week about getting the gifts together. And if you are a business and you want to be a part of our Christmas giveaway, contact me or James, or you can just message One Objective, how you want to do it, and let us know that you want to be part of the giveaway. And we're trying to figure. Last year we did it on the show, didn't we?
Yeah.
We gave away a lot of the gifts on the show. Just some questions.
We did everything on the show. You did
Yeah.
all the giveaway stuff.
Yeah. So that's probably what we'll do again. We'll probably do a Christmas special and have all the giveaway stuff in here. Maybe we'll have a special guest. I don't know.
Didn't we do it with we did some things where we did it with questions or something like that.
Yeah, we had trivia questions.
Yeah.
That's how we did it. So it'll probably be the same thing this time. And then we'll have, maybe have a special guest in studio to help with it too. So I don't know. Yeah. But anyways, if you're a tackle business, whatever, something small that we can ship easy. We do 2 rods. We'll be talking Falcon again about that. So, we do 2 big rod giveaways and then some smaller things. So we'll be talking with Yak Tack and all that. So we got to get all that stuff straight. But like I say, if you got a small business, you want to get your stuff out there in some people's hands. We do a lot of promotional stuff before that. So just, message us, whatever, and we can do that. But to really thank our sponsors for this show right now, though, that's helped us out through the years, Bonafide, Yak Attack, Missile Baits, Falcon Rods, Acicol, Parapole, Bino Power, and Hookfish Performance. I think I got them all that time, man.
You did.
I always try to do it without reading anything, I mean.
Yeah.
And it's, people are like, man, you ought to know your sponsor. You can, but you get so many of them, man. And sometimes it's hard to remember.
Yeah, read the wrong one, say the wrong thing.
Say the wrong thing, whatever. You leave one out sometimes by accident. So, anyways, guys, we'll have links into. You can see as we tagged them in this show, and then also on our YouTube stuff, we'll have links to it. So, and another thing too about these shows, guys, if you don't have time to catch this show, but you want to go in, you just want to check the in-depth segment. Hit the cable.
Yeah, hit the cable.
If you want to check the in-depth segment, we break these shows down. So we'll have the full show on YouTube, and then we'll have the in-depth segment on there. So we'll be doing fall crankbait fishing with Jason Hensley tonight for our in-depth segment. So that's going to be a good one, and we'll have that coming up. But this Tuesday, we're going to be doing the in-depth segment. We'll have that up with Scott Canterbury on fall time buzzbait fishing. So, but anyways, Chris, let's go ahead and see if we can get Jason on. And we'll get him on here and get to talking about what he thinks, because Jason also did a lot of the bass boat fishing stuff. But anyways,
hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, man, what's going on, Jason? How you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing good.
Chris is gonna build your scene up here. Just make sure you cut you out. There you go. Look. I'm gonna tell you what. Look at the legend.
Man, you broke my Skype cherry. I love it. I'm not on yet, am I?
Yeah, you're coming on. You're on. You're live, brother. So don't say nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man, how you doing tonight, Jason?
We're doing pretty good.
How's I know you went out and did some fishing today. Had I seen some pictures up of some pretty nice bass you were catching.
Yeah, thank you. Got out there early. It was cold, starting to warm up just a little bit, and started cranking, and caught that 19-incher within the first 5 minutes, and then just worked the area over real good, and ended up catching a couple more around 15, 16 inches. But it was a nice day, and caught some smaller ones on a jig, which is unusual. But
yeah, most time when
bigger fish are on the crankbait.
Most time when they eat the jig is what you see the memes all the time. They eat the jig. When they eat the jig, most time it's a good sized fish this time of the year. You know, it ain't
Oh, yeah.
it ain't a little one. So, but now I was telling people earlier. I don't know if you caught it. You don't have to talk about the lake you like to fish. I don't know how much exposure you want to bring to the lake, but you've done really well there. You figured out something. Do you hit a lot of the same spots you hit all year long, or I mean, do you have to do a lot of changing with that lake? Because I know it's a lot of Florida strain bass in there, and they react different to the weather that we have here in Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, a couple times during the year, like in the summertime, I'll pull out from the area I was fishing the spring, and I'll go out to the mid lake or the upper part of the lake and fish that area mostly during the summer. Sometimes I'll go back, in the back and try the lily pads, or depending on weather conditions. Um, what I'll go back and fish like my different areas that I normally fish in the spring, but because it's like bass will stay shallow. You'll have some bass that'll stay shallow year round. Like you can always find fish in lily pads, and sometimes the big one will move in there, chasing brim or whatever else. But most times, generally in the summer, I'll stay out on the main lake.
Yeah, yeah, I know that lake has been hard for me to. I mean, I can go up there and catch fish, but compared to what like you and Casey and some of these other guys are catching, I just can't seem to unlock that bite, which we've talked about going up there this spring, and figuring out a few things, but for some reason, but I don't get into locations that y'all go to. I mean, I'm staying right there around close to the boat ramp, and I'll go out and fish some of the main channel points and stuff. But I cannot, which I don't have a lot of time. I haven't had a lot of time to fish that lake like you guys do, and that's what a lot of our shows that I've talked about. It's that time on the water, and that's helped you out through the years learning that lake, right?
Right. I've been fishing that lake for we'll just say 18 years. And I used to fish tons of John boat tournaments up there, and I just know most of the lake like the back of my hand, so I can just hit spot to spot to spot, and then just repeat and just keep going like that.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, those high percentage spots that I have, they'll eventually pay off most of the time.
Yeah. So you're just milk running a lot of your stuff. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
So. But well, now Jason, I do appreciate you coming on tonight, man. We got a lot to talk about. I know you follow a lot of the Pro Series, elites, and the whole world has been rocked this year in the fishing industry, shall I say, when it comes to the tournament series. The MLF or the Bass Pro Tour, the Bassmaster Elites, and then now I don't know if you've read up much about with the National Professional Fishing League that's come out. I mean, have you kept up much with that and what the fishing industry is doing on the bass boat side?
I've kept up with it some because I love to watch it live streaming on on the internet and everything when they have live shows. And with the National Pro Tour, I haven't read up too much on that, but I did see it. I think overall I enjoy each of them, a certain way. And especially with this new one coming up with the national tour, I think it's good.
Yeah.
It just gives that many more guys, the good fishermen, much more opportunities to get in there and get recognized and show what they got.
Yeah. Yeah, and I got mixed emotions about it. I think it's a great thing to all that started this, because that's not something easy just to jump into and say, look, we're just going to start a pro tour. And everybody's gonna pay $5,000. It's so much to it, It's so much.
It has to be done right.
Yeah, and I mean, it ain't just something you just put together in 6 months. I mean, that's a year, 2 years, 3 years of plan time, to make it right. Because, I mean, I was reading through a lot of the stuff, and some stuff I highlighted, which was off the top, was 125 angler field with a 2-year contract. So you got to sign a contract. It's kind of like the Bass Pro Tour. You sign a contract, which yours is 3 years. And then you're in it, and then it says it includes an option of a 3rd year, which the difference between the Bass Pro Tour and this is they have no entry fees on the Bass Pro Tour. But they got the money.
So they pay like a yearly fee or something like that?
I don't even know how that. See, a lot of that is backed off of sponsorship.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm thinking. Like it's because they're like a whole union now, where it's like they vote on how they want to do everything. And they voted not to have no entry fees.
That's how it ought to be. Though.
Yeah.
Let them pick.
Yeah, let the anglers do it, So it's kind of like Jason back in the club days, you had a president, but everybody helped run the club kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So everybody voted and all that. Anyways, no requalification for the first 3 years, 6 qualifying tournaments, 2 spring, 2 summer, 2 fall, which I think is cool. I love watching tournaments get towards the fall. The elites, the Bass Pro Tour, all of that, everything spring, summer. I love watching these tournaments go into the fall. I wish the Bassmasters Classic was in the fall instead of the spring. I mean, granted, it makes for big fish catches and it's awesome, but the fall can be just as good, But I wish they would carry that in, so it's all in the same year, kind of like Forest Wood Cup. You know what I mean? So.
Right, instead of starting the Super Bowl off at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, it's cool too because you've been cooped up in the house all winter long and all that. So you do get to come out and we get to go down to the Classic and do these interviews and also kind of getting you back into it. But I wish they would go through the fall and go from there. What you got, Chris?
Yeah, just a comment. Doug says he thinks they ought to get behind the kayak guys and the tiny boat guys and create tours for people that can afford them.
Yeah,
and we agree with that. That'd be a good idea. That'd be a great idea.
I think they should. And
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think you could do a John boat tour series. I mean, look at the kayaking side. They got a whole tour series now.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they have a John boat tour? Man, here we go. Look, there's a business opportunity.
Yeah, don't they have John boats tournaments around here?
Oh yeah, they got them. They're doing one on the river.
Yeah.
They got Doug Fitzgerald.
They do a few up at Sandy River every year.
Yeah. What's Doug Fitzgerald? Don't he do something like the Bass Johns or something like that too? They're like a lot of those got like John boats and stuff like that. You know who I'm talking about, Jason?
I know who Doug is. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah,
I know the Outlaws. The Outlaws have a 9.9 series that they run as well.
Mm-hmm. And they do a series down there by James down there in Suffolk area.
Yeah.
Oh, the Suffolk Lakes. They have the 9.9 series. Now, it is funny because you get some of these bigger bass boats with 9.9s on them. I'm not talking like full-size Rangers or nothing, but they're bigger.
I think it should be like a boat length, like no longer than 14 foot. That way,
dude, that'd be sweet.
Keep the bass boats out of it. Because
yeah.
Some guy off the 21-foot Ranger shows up with a 9.9 on it beside his big motor.
Yeah, with a 109-pound thrust Lowrance or something on the front of it that outruns your 9.9. But yeah, I think that would be good. Now on the kayaking side, the KBF and the Hobie series, they're trying to get into that. They're starting that good market there. I think there's a lot. I'm not going to say much on the Hobie side. I think everything they do so far has been great. I'm not knocking KBF, but I think everything the Hobie's got going on right now. I wish they did have. Well, they got the little satellite tournaments. But Jason, do you look at fishing any of that stuff next year? Any of the KBF Open Series or the Hobie Series?
I have not looked into the Hobie Series. The KBF, there are a couple tournaments that are kind of intriguing coming up this year that I've come to region tournaments, and I might fish one or two of those.
Yeah. Which the ones that are really sticking out in your head? Like there was High Rock whenever. I think they changed it. I don't know. I haven't seen that. But
well, you got the first one starts off at Sandy Cooper.
Yeah.
And that'd be another bucket list lake for me. So
yeah.
that would be a great place to go.
Yeah, I think that'd be. I mean, we've gotten over
they got the Potomac River on there as well.
Yes, that's a fun fishery. I got a lot of funny stories about Potomac River, but that is a fun fishery, especially in a kayak. It's different because bass boat. You're really gonna, if you don't know that area, you can really mess some stuff up. But it's a fun fishery. But
and the thing with the KBF tour, I think it was Sandy Cooper, High Rock, Potomac, and then the Classic was going to be at Smith Mountain Lake.
Yeah, and
so that's even more intriguing to possibly fish all three. But like I said, we'll have to see exactly what the dates, how they fall, and with what's going on family wise too.
That's right, and that's what kills me and James right now because we really want to we really want to expand one objective when it comes to YouTube and filming and doing more how-to stuff and teaching more fishing stuff. But on the other side, we're real competitive as well. Love to be competitive. And they got the whole, that whole KBF Tour regional series or whatever, where they're going all them lakes, and they're coming to our home lake of Smith Mountain Lake for the championship deal. You know what I mean? So it's like, dang, I'd really love to fish at. But yeah, I think next year we just want to spend more time in filming than it is fishing the events. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really great schedule, and I really hate to miss it. It sets up perfect for everything I want to fish, but I just don't.
Yeah, I definitely. We got a few months here to think about everything, what's going on, and look at and see what's going to be best.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, you said we had something come up?
Yeah, Christina said, the Augusta Bass Johns.
Yes, that's right. The Augusta Bass, because that's what the Fishersville show is for. It's like raising money for the Bass Johns, Augusta County Bass Johns. So, which they do a really great job in that. That's always in March, which we're looking at putting a booth up there. Jason, you worked it last year with Bob's Up the Creek Outfitters. They have a pretty good showing.
It was a big turnout this year.
Yeah. I mean, they had a little bit of everybody in there, vendor wise. A lot of local soft plastic guys. They had Bass Munition guy in there. What's his name? Oh shoot. Richard, yes, he was in there. He had a good setup. They had a little bit of everything in there, and then Bob had their stuff. We're looking at setting a booth up, and then we're looking at doing something with Richmond as well. But anyways, I don't know where I'm going off of that conversation. Just got kind of mixed up, but yeah. So kind of getting back into the KBF stuff and all that. We got something else, Chris, real quick?
Yeah, Ryan says, Josh, are you competitive? No way.
Which Ryan is that?
Your cousin.
Oh, Ryan. Hey, you know me, man. I'm gonna try to beat anybody I can, no matter what I'm doing, whether it be four wheelers or motorcycles or whatever. But
Ron says the February 15th, 16th this year.
Oh, for the Augusta?
I believe that's what he's talking about.
Okay. All right.
I
yeah,
think.
maybe it was February. I can't remember. But yeah.
Yeah, because it's right after the Richmond one, kind of, ain't it?
Yeah, because Richmond was in January, and then you got that. I got the paperwork. I need to look at it because I need to fill all that stuff out. But yeah, that's Ron. That's probably from RBT Crankbaits. He had a really great setup last year. If y'all need to really check him out.
Yeah, he's always got a big display.
Yeah, and Jason, I know you got his shirt on there. It looks like you're on his pro staff, which is actually in that picture that was just up. It'll come back through again. Was a RBT Crankbait. He's really got some great stuff, and his buzz baits are phenomenal. You gotta check them out. I like those.
Yeah, best buzz baits on the market.
Yeah, Jason got me throwing those. It's like it's a hair buzz bait, like a hair jig, but it's a buzz bait. You know what I mean? So it's a really great deal there. So, but kind of getting back to the whole National Professional Fishing League, I was just kind of going over some stuff, but something that sticks out right here, and this goes to show me that they've really put their time and they have gotten some serious money into this deal. Is they're going to be doing the live streaming all 3 days on the water, live studio commentator and live weigh-ins. So that's a lot of money right there, just in camera equipment. What are you going to have boosters, cell phone boosters, or
it depends on where they're at.
Yeah, for service and all that to be able to stream that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, I know what I go through just trying to stream something out with my cell phone, much less.
Yeah, that's a huge investment.
Yeah. So
you can't do it with a phone. You got to have a camera, so you got to have all that stuff to make it work.
So it's a lot of time, a lot of money. I
guess you could do it with a phone, but it wouldn't be very professional looking.
Yeah, and then people that you got to hire to do that stuff.
Yeah.
So
and they don't work for free.
No. So and then the thing that got me on this one, and now they do have a goal here, and I'll go over that here in just a little bit.
Did they post a schedule?
No, they have not.
No schedule yet, Brent.
I haven't seen nothing with the schedule yet. Anyways, I was kind of looking over it a little while ago, but what got me was this is the only thing that's killer, because it's supposed to be the professional league, which it will be. So no, I don't want nobody like really throwing jabs at me after I say this, but is a $50,000 purse or $50,000 winnings. So if you get first place, it's $50,000 per tournament. I mean, now they go all the way down to like 44th, 26th through 44th is $9,000.
No.
So I mean, that's not bad. You're getting some money back.
Yeah.
And especially out of 124, 25
your
guys.
Entry fee back anyway.
Yeah, you're getting your entry fee of $5,000 plus you're making a little bit, but you figure you got gas, hotel fees, all that, all that stuff. So second place is 30, third place is 20, and so on. It goes on down like that. But now this is when you go to their goals. Is as revenues added, our intention is to meet the below goals, which is $100,000 of the qualifying event winners. So whoever wins gets $100,000, and then they want to have the national championship, which is going to be $500,000, and then $100,000 to Angle of the Year. If any of y'all followed Bassmasters, I don't know what's going to happen with FLW because of the buyout in the Forest Wood Cup, and I don't know how money's going to go, but those are only $300,000.
Yeah.
Bassmasters used to be $500,000 when you won the Bassmasters Classic. Am I right, Jason?
Yes. Yeah, so, that sounds right.
So, and then it started dropping back down. Then it was like $300,000. Now they win other contingency money and all that stuff, but the main prize was $500,000. FLW at one time had $1 million? I think that's when Jacob Wheeler won. When he was fishing FLW, was like $1 million or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it was on up there. But to win $50,000 at a professional, I hope they get the money in to get to that goal. I know you got to start, so I'm not bashing them on that, but I think that's going to be hard for some of them guys to commit to that. You know what I mean? That's
right. What I want to look forward to is or see. Like, I had the guys when they did the BPT tour and it was FLW and Bass, and you had people like Scott Martin and David Dudley that stayed with FLW.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have this with, MLF buying them or taking over FLW. I wonder where their mindset is at and what they might decide to do going into next season.
It could be. They could lose some of them. I mean,
there's some big names, still some big names out there.
Oh, yeah. We've talked to a couple of them that are kind of concerned about FLW getting bought out. You know what I mean? And don't like some of the changes that are coming up. But we also know people, too, don't like change. I get that, especially when that's your livelihood. That's like when somebody comes out and buys our company out, and then all of a sudden everybody's pay's changed, and you know what I mean? Your hours are changed and stuff like that. So I get that. But like Jason said too, though, I mean, they could lose some more.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing is, because I see this in the kayaking side of the world right now, is the saturation of anglers. There's no money in it no more. There's no money in fishing sponsorship wise, shall I say. I mean, you look at MLF and look at the sponsors that they pulled for that show. There's some big names in that. You look at Bass at what they got. Is there that many other companies out there that's got that kind of money that's willing to throw at these big events? That especially a new event that ain't grown that much. They ain't got that much attention.
Right.
And they're eventually gonna have to look outside of fishing industry.
Yeah, it's gonna be non-endemic.
It's gonna be like a guy fishing's gonna have. I don't know.
Yeah.
Joe's trucking company.
Yeah. Joe, Mountain Dew or something on his.
Yeah. So, but what gets me too is and this is what I was talking about in the kayaking side. Everybody's on a pro staff, and nothing against that. We're on it too. Jason's on it. But when you get into that level of you looking for sponsors to pay your entry fees, I don't think you're gonna have any. I don't think there's no money in the fishing side of it to be paying all these anglers. You got 3 tours now. No, 4 now. It'll be 4 tours. So just trying to be able to come up with the kind of sponsorship for that, for an angler. I just don't know. It's kind of a scary time, and it's an exciting time. It's a good time to be alive in the fishing industry.
Yeah.
But it's also a scary time, I would think, because of the money. I mean, that's at $5,000 an event, and you probably got to pay up so much at one time. And not a lot of people got that kind of money. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I think that's going to be I don't know. I think it's just going to be a trying time for the fishing industry. But it's like I say, it's going to be a good time coming up. But anyways, enough of that because it just depresses me when I think about it a little bit sometimes. I just want to go over one thing. So the 2020 schedule come out for the Bass Pro Tour, and they're hitting the typical lakes. Now they're scheduling everything. If you look at it at good times, this year the schedule was kind of thrown together. A lot of people complain about dink fests, all that stuff, but they had to throw the schedule together, and they didn't hit the lakes right when they wanted to, like Bass and FLW do. But I will say, I'm looking at the 4th event, April 3rd through the 8th. Yeah. Jordan Lake, Falls Lake, and Sharon Harris Reservoir. That's one Jacob Poroznik won this year down there off Sharon Harris, and that is a lot of big fish caught at Sharon Harris. That is another bucket list lake that we need to hit around that time.
Where is this at?
In North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that far.
No. I mean, I know you've heard of Sharon Harris, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
It's loaded with big fish. Loaded with, I mean, Jacob Wheeler caught an 8 or 9 pounder or something like that down there during the event off a frog. I mean, it is just monster fish down there. I don't want to go the time that they're down there, but maybe like the weekend after or something, you know, or like 2 weeks before, something like that. Right before they're going to pull up, they're still feeding good, before they kind of go in that spawn funk. I think that would be a good lake, a bucket list lake too, to get off.
Oh, yeah, anytime in the spring when you're catching 30-pound bags plus, it's pretty good.
Yeah. And it was I can't think of the guy. I had his name written down on another piece of paper that I found it earlier this week, that he actually made it on Major League the Bass Pro Tour video, because it was a kayaker that gave Mark Daniels Jr. the water right there. He could go on behind him and fish, and Mark Daniels caught a big old bass. So, but anyways,
and I'll stop hitting this mic cord one of these days. It's about the 5th time I've hit it tonight. I'm sure everybody hears it.
It's fine. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It is. That's the one thing about this table, man. Like, you can hear anything that you do.
There we go. I think I'd take care of it.
Yeah.
I'll set it up there like that.
Put some old zip ties right there.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's get to our guest. Let's talk to Jason. Enough about these overpaid fishermen. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. What'd you say?
I was gonna say overpriced tournaments.
Yeah, overpriced tournament. We won't be able to fish.
Yeah, we can't fish on them.
Nah, I'm just kidding. I love following these guys. These guys are heroes. A lot of these guys are the reason why that we get out and fish like we do. You know, that fishes stuff. So
yeah, I grew up watching the old Bassmasters and everything, and I've had a drive since I was little, and I'm just blessed to be able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we go back and look at some of your pictures. I don't think I put any of your old pictures. I should have put some of your old pictures when you had that sweet mustache. You know, back in some of your older pictures. But you've been catching big bass for a long, long time. Does it ever get boring? You catch a 5-pounder, you're like, God darn it.
Well, when I'm fishing the monthlies and I'm trying to cull a 21-incher and I keep catching 19s and 20s.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but that's always a good problem to have.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're catching a 19. Man, I catch a 19, I'm like, oh, yeah.
I catch a 12-inch, I'm happy. That one I caught the other day, I was happy with that.
Yeah. Chris went up there, what was it, 2 weeks ago? A week ago? Last week?
Last Friday.
And you caught, what did you say, you caught one?
I caught one. It's probably about 12 inches.
Yeah. And he's happy, man, which, I would be too if I had a tough day. And I caught that one. At least you did 0.
That's the only bite I had all day.
Yep.
But
it was like that one trip with Jason Christian when I took him up there, and I was catching 21s, and I was just holding them up like, well, that's not going to do me any good, and just throw it right back.
Yeah.
It's good. Have some good days.
So, I mean, what, a 21 inch, that's like a 6-pounder, right? Maybe a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the time of the year.
About 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Depends.
And you catch, now granted you've had days. I know when you've taken Sean or Shane up there. Sean. Sorry, I got another guy I work with too named Shane. But anyways, you take them up there, and then you take Jason, Kristen up there, and you have them good days where you catch a lot of big fish in front of them. But how many times do you actually go where you catch several 20-inch fish in a day?
I'd say a handful of times a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, most of the time though,
Right.
it's
and sometimes I've had back-to-back weekends where I've gone up there on Saturday and Sunday and been able to catch several fish over 20 inches both days.
golly. Yeah,
But
I mean,
once you get on that pattern, it's they're almost locked on.
yeah.
Unless there's some major weather event that comes in and shuts it down or something like that. But yeah, once you find them, you pretty much got them.
And I know for you, it's been tough because they have the Yak Attack tournament up there every year around that area.
Right,
And
I haven't been able to make it.
Yeah, it's like us. We've had a few things. We fished a one, but wasn't able to make it last year because of some stuff that come up. But and you had some family stuff that came up as well. But I know that's got to hit you in the guts, man, because you could probably, which that event ain't all about winning. It's all about just going around having a good time and camaraderie and all that. But as a competitor, and you still enter into a tournament, it don't matter if it's a cash prize. You just want to be number one.
Yeah.
Right. So I know that kicks you in the gut too, because you love to win it. and I know you probably could, because you just know that lake so well, especially that time of the year that they have it. So.
Yep.
But,
I went, that one picture with the really big fish was taken just a few days after they had the Yak Attack tournament.
Yeah.
And I was able to go up there and caught that one almost immediately.
That's the one you called me up at that one night, right?
Right there, that picture right there.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. He's like, man, you won't believe what I caught. He's like, I had to call somebody and tell him, man. He got to tell him about it. I was like, good Lord.
Light line, small shaky head, and it was a fight.
Yeah, and that's what I was actually, one of my questions we'll get into was, do you do much with light tackle fishing there, since there's so many big fish?
I do, just like the pictures that's up now, or it was just up with me standing up.
Mm-hmm.
That was a 10-pound line on my spinning gear with a wacky rig Cinco. And I threw that a ton up there.
Yeah.
Shaky heads, like 1/8 ounce shaky heads, trick worm, wacky rig Cincos. But when I'm fishing the grass, lily pads, no. I'm I get the swim jig, chatterbait, stuff like that on with 20, 25-pound line.
Yeah.
And but I do fish with my spinning gear a lot.
Yeah. I was just curious because, I know a lot of the stuff that you fish and the structure that's there with standing timber and all that stuff. If you threw that much around back there with those big fish, but I mean, small tackle still catches fish. I'm not saying it doesn't. It's just getting them out of that stuff with that.
Right.
That
Yeah.
thing.
Generally, if I'm in the timber, I'm not throwing my spinning gear.
Yeah. So, but which most of the time spring, all that probably isn't much with a light line, I would assume. But
No.
now let's get to because I know this is far away. This is history. Let's talk about the national championship this year, Jason. Me and you we fished together a lot. We stuck together. We was like brothers down there, and we traveled to different lakes and fished. Everything practicing and during the tournament. But that was like the ultimate time to be down in Louisiana. The fish were starting to pull up, spawning, all that, and it's good. That's kind of sets up to some of the stuff that you like to fish. Some of it. I know we don't know much about the cypress trees, but you have a little bit where you fish at.
Right.
What was your thoughts on that?
I thought
on
it
that
was
national championship
perfectly. I thought it was going to set up perfectly for me. Because I love a swim jig. I knew I was, the cover, the cypress trees, pads, grass, and it just seemed everywhere we went. The areas we went were beautiful, looked perfect, but the fish just weren't there.
Yeah.
We weren't getting the bites. There was just something. I don't know whether it's just the weather-wise or we just the areas weren't panning out, and it just never did the whole time we were there.
And what's it first like we went? The one I about nearly died of food poisoning that day. What was that? That was Is that Bastonia? Is that the one we went to?
I have no idea.
Trying to think. Bissanu. That's what it was. Bissanu.
Right.
Oh.
And if you get it wrong down there with the locals, they'll tell you that you're saying it wrong. Like I've already had a couple of them that corrected me when I was down there on it. But, I went out there and caught that 6-pounder like the day before, because we've been eyeballing that spot during we was doing our drive around. Me, you, James, and James's buddy. Man, forgot his name, but we were all driving around looking at all these different lakes and ramps and all that stuff, and that lake, we went across the bridge, and we was like, man, we got out the truck and walked back and forth across that bridge, figuring out how we could get in there and all that. And you could see shad busting everything. The water just looked perfect.
Yep.
So we go back in there and practice, and we've been practicing for a while, and I ain't got a goddamn bite on nothing. And I think James and them called a couple. Me and Jason been struggling. I said, so the first fish that bites in here, I'm jacking his jaw. And god darn, it was a 6-pounder. Largemouth. On a bed, I'm assuming, because I went back the next day and flipped over and caught like a 2-pounder or something like that. But I mean, that we knew those fish were in there. Just that one big fish, and then Jay was his name. Jay caught several fish in there. So we knew they were there, and we just thought we was going to be in a prime area, but there was more people than we thought it was going to be in there. But that spot just didn't pan out, man. Like, people were catching them, but it didn't pan out.
So. Yeah, I mean, I fished shallow. I went deeper. I tried everything in between. It never worked. Just could not get anything to work.
But we come in, we leave. And the next day, we decided to go to, I think it was Cross Lake, and start throwing Cincos and Nico rigs and start catching fish. I get on some. We should have went there in the first place. We talked about it because it was looking like the lake we wanted to fish, But that other one just looked so good as a fisherman. You're like, this is it. They're going to be here.
As soon as our first pass over that little bridge, we were just like almost having seizures in the seats because we couldn't stop the truck quick enough.
Yeah. I mean, you see stuff flashing all around. I mean, it was bait fish back there. It was just set up. It was a beautiful spot. It was just perfect. But it's a 2. That was stuff that we just wasn't accustomed to fishing. The whole time you're in 2 and 3 foot of water. So you had to find
those. I think that's what it was. It's just you had to find that little. It might have been a 3 or 4 foot spot in that 2 to 3 foot spot, or just a little small change, and that's probably where they were or where the fish were stacked in, and we just never did find that honey hole.
Yeah. And I mean, and then
that small little ditch running through the flats or whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's where I caught that big one. That's what that was. It was a little channel swing, and that little cut that run up against those 2 cypress trees, and that's where I got all my bites when I did catch fish in there. But we go to Cross and fill out a limit, and our little hearts were broke after that event. But that's fishing. I mean, we had high hopes when we went down there, but but then you go looking like Casey and Bruce and all of them. They went to, because I was like, I'm not fighting that traffic at Cato.
Right, we knew that place was going to be packed.
Yeah, but it seemed like it was almost worth it. But James did really good on Cross as well. I mean, I think he had a couple lost opportunities that could have moved him up. I don't know about winning, but he had a couple lost opportunities that could have moved him up, and so the fish was there at that lake. I think you just had to find that right spot.
Right.
We just found it late. So, but and 17, 18-inch fish just don't get it done down there. You got to have 20s, with good 20s down there, especially on the Texas side. You get a Cato where they take care of their largemouth bass there big time. So they breed big ones down there. But anyways, Jason, let's get into our in-depth segment. I want to jump into that before we go any further in the show.
Okay.
That is, a lot of people that ain't listened to our show, we do our in-depth segment. That is where we go over a certain technique, and we go into line, reels, places to look for, stuff like that. So In today's show, we're going to be doing fall cranking, and being that Jason's with RBT Custom Lures, he's got in the way his day was today with catching some nice bass on crankbait. So we're going to go in depth with him about fall cranking. And to kick it off, Jason, when it comes to the time of the year for cranking, what is our ideal water temperature for you to really start saying, hey, I need to start throwing a crankbait?
I don't really say a certain temperature as much as I get just a gut feeling. Honestly, I just tie it on generally towards the end of fall, end of September, starting into October. I start tying on my rattle traps and some crankbaits. And once that temperature, I'd say, starts falling below 80, the water temp is, for me, is a sure sign I need to start throwing crankbait a little more.
Yeah.
Just like this morning, the water temp was 61. Would you think with some of these cooler temperatures we have, it might be just a little cooler than that? But I was a little surprised to see 61.
Yeah, it surprised me too. I figured it'd be at least like 50s.
When I got off the water, the surface temp I think was 63.5 today.
Yeah, and with the like Chris said, you thought it had been in the 50s with the cool rain we've had.
Right.
But
I just went outside earlier before the show started, and it's freezing cold outside.
Yeah.
So just a few more nights of this, it's gonna drop it down quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's and 50s for me is a magic number. That's always my magic number when it comes to fall and spring. You know what I mean? Like then you get in your 60s in spring. That's when you're getting into your bed and fish stuff. But 50s is like jig, cranking, jerkbait. Like it's just it's like a buffet of lures. You can throw. So. But when it comes to so now we've gotten into the water temperature side. In the fall, what are some colors that you're really looking at to throw crankbaits? Like, what is your main color you love to throw in the fall?
Like a shad pattern. For me, it depends on the water clarity too. If you got a nice color water clarity, I love throwing a shad pattern, or a brown crawl or red crawl. Get a little stained water to start throwing a brown crawl. It's like what I had today was slightly stained water, and the one I was throwing was this medium diver.
There you go. Yeah.
RBT. I can't see too well on my end.
Yeah.
With
come
the
on.
video.
Yeah. There you go. Right there.
All right. There we go.
Yeah.
But the RBT with the brown and the yellow belly, that pattern. And then I also had, because I didn't know what color the water was going to be when I got there, I had this one tied on as well, just in case the water was a little more stained. And it's got a little more red to it, and the cat stepping all over my hooks.
You hear in the back.
Excuse me for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, look at that. Oh God, I love it, man. Oh man,
that's the highlight of the show.
There we go. We're gonna add that to the blooper reel, man.
Man,
that's all right.
He almost got a paw full of hooks.
Oh man,
he walked right across him.
Oh God,
man.
I just seen his phone go spinning through the air.
The darn cat weighs 20 pounds.
Oh man. Ooh, I gotta get myself together.
Sorry
here.
about that.
No, you're fine. I think it's funny.
Yeah,
I like stuff like that.
Those were medium divers. I was fishing like an old pond dam is what it was, and you had about 10 foot on both sides of it, and it comes up to like 3 to 4 foot. And I was just raking it across those ridges, and picking them up here and there.
Yeah. And that's, like I say, that's stuff you're looking for when that's because that's getting to my next question. That's certain things you're looking for, just the sudden changes, like whether it be, I guess, the composition of the bottom, whether it be just dropping dropping down to a ditch, or if it's coming from soft to hard bottom. Is that what
Right.
are the main?
This is a harder bottom with some rock and some brush as well. Is what I was fishing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Also, I went out a little bit deeper. I had a big flat that's got some deeper grass. I did try ripping a trap through it and just couldn't get any bites doing that. So I just went back and reverted back to what I was doing before.
I got you. Now when it comes to I know you were talking about your medium depth there, but when you're what's a water depth, shall I say, that you're looking for? Because a lot of people, I think, when it comes to cranking, a lot of people don't look into. They're like, okay, I'm fishing 10 foot of water, so I want a 5-foot crankbait. You know, they don't realize that you want that thing dredging the bottom.
Right. Yeah. You want that thing digging the bottom.
Yeah.
So if I'm fishing 10 foot of water, I want a crankbait that's going to go 14 to 15, 16 foot.
Yeah.
Because then your line size is going to determine if your bait gets to the depth it's supposed to be to start with.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you're throwing a 14 foot diving crankbait on 12 plus pound line, 14-pound line, it's not even, it might go to 10 or 9, 8 foot.
Yeah.
The heavier the line, the shallower the bait's going to go.
Exactly right. And like for fishing Smith, a lot of times I'll go down to 10-pound test when I'm throwing a medium diving crankbait. And I've also done it with, like Rapala DT16s, because you're trying to just get that little extra depth out of it.
Right. Anything like the Series 5, Series 6, like the Strike Kings.
Yeah.
Or the DT10s, DT 16s. You can get away with 10-pound test line.
Yeah. The main thing is just checking your line a lot.
It also, it's going to depend on the structure you're throwing it on as well.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you're throwing in a lot of brush, for me, now this is, and you can let me know how you do it, but for me, like if I'm throwing something where I know I got a lot of brush, a lot of trees, all that, I'm going to be ticking the bottom, I'll go to a bigger line, but I actually go to a mono a lot of times when I do that. For if I get hung up for popping it, when you get that stretch and it pops, if you get hung up, that's why a lot of times I do that. But I go to a bigger mono when I do it. But that's when getting to that depth isn't a big deal. You know what I mean? But but when you're throwing stuff in the deep stuff, what is your main? Because this is another thing that I'm getting kind of scatterbrained. But this is another thing too with cranking is the difference between mono and fluoro, and the difference in depth you can get out of mono and fluoro.
Right, because fluoro is going to sink.
Yeah.
So it's going to help that bait get to that depth.
Yep.
That max depth that you're trying to get to.
And then the diameter.
And you're
going
to have less stretch.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, and in fluoro you got a smaller diameter, so you get less drag on your line as well, getting it down to that depth. So, but yeah, that's
and it also, you get technical with it, like your rod, or you're throwing a medium cranking rod, a medium heavy cranking rod, a heavy cranking rod. With fluoro or mono, depends on, how it, because some days the fish are going to just load up on it.
Mm-hmm.
You won't even feel the bite. The rod will just start bending. And other days they'll just knock slack in the line. And for me, if they're just loading up on it, it's going to depend on what kind of line, what rod I'm throwing and stuff as well.
Exactly.
Because if they're just light biting, loading up on it, you don't want a stiff rod, because you'll miss a lot of those fish.
Yep, and that's been key for me with cranking deep cranking bait. Like DT16s and the Series 6s and all that stuff. It is because where it's getting so much further deep, so much deeper. You know what I mean? When you got that lighter action rod, you got a little more feel when they get deeper. Right. And like Jason said, you don't have to really set the hook on them. It just loads up. And when you're making those long casts way out there, it is. You just want them. You just want to just pull into them. It's kind of like throwing a drop shot. Really, you just pull it into it. You ain't even really setting the hook.
Just keep the pressure on.
Yep. Yeah. So that's So when we talked about water clarity and all that, but when it comes to deep fall cranking, is there a time where you say, okay, I'm not going to throw it? When it gets to a certain water temperature, is there a time that you say, okay, I'm really not going to throw it no more? Because
No, because because when the water gets colder, it's going to get tougher as the
Mhm.
water gets colder. But the flat-sided crankbaits when it comes to that time, like the Shad Rap,
Yep.
the John Cruz little MD like that. This is RBT custom painted one. Oh, let me get it in
Yeah,
here.
there you go. Yeah.
There we go. This is the brown with the orangish belly, and then you got the Shad Rap style bait as well.
Other way. Yeah.
I'm missing it.
Man, that is an awesome looking color right there.
Beautiful shad color that he does.
Oh man, I'm going to get with him.
So,
I need a couple of those baits.
But the Shad Rap in the winter, late fall, winter, early spring is a big time bait for me. It's hard to throw, it's really light, but if you can, here comes that darn cat. If you can,
round two.
if you can, find the right tackle to throw it on, I throw it on a spinning rod with 6 to 8 pound test line, and sometimes I can get away with a bait caster with throwing it on 8 to 10.
Yeah. I love a Shad Rap. I think that is the ultimate. You can, to be honest with you, the Shad Rap, if you don't want to get real technical with cranking, you could throw a Shad Rap all year long. I mean, it is. It's a deadly weapon, man.
Yep. Anytime it's the bite is tough. It could be just a high sky China gate, just bluebird. Nothing else is working. You can take that out. It's got a real tight wobble to it. And sometimes it'll shine when nothing else will.
And I know at nighttime when the shad spawn's going on, and I can't seem to get nothing else going. If they don't want to hit that thunder stick, or they don't want to hit a swim jig or a swim bait or anything like that, I can take that little Shad Rap, little bitty one. You got to be careful because the striper's up there feeding.
Oh yeah.
So he'll spool you quick if you're throwing 8-10 pound test on one of them dudes. But I used to take the just a regular black and silver Shad Rap, the real small one. The old timey looking black and silver is all it is, and I'll throw that way up on the bank there and work it down the rocks and take it. And that has been key for me during the summertime, just kind of getting that bite on those nights. It's kind of tough. So Shad Rap, man, it's hard to beat. I know we're on fall, but I love that bait all year long.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, as the water temp starts getting colder, then I start going to those flat-sided crankbaits. Like I said, it's got a little tighter wobble, and it's more natural.
Yeah.
Instead of throwing a square bill where that thing is just moving back and forth real hard, and it just seems more, like I said, natural to it.
So when it comes,
and then same thing with jerkbaits. The water gets a little colder. I like throwing the jerkbaits as well, and he's got a great lineup of jerkbaits.
Yeah, and guys, make sure Jason, what's it? Is it? Does he has a website, right? rbtcrankbaits.com or
it's mainly on Facebook. RBT Custom Baits is what it is.
Okay.
So do you send him?
But you can look him up.
Do you send him crankbaits and paint them, or does he have a selection you pick?
No,
from?
he has his own crankbaits that he paints.
I know you put that one
he
up.
He can paint anything that you request.
Okay, because I know you put that one up that was a Little John.
Yeah,
correct.
I didn't know if you.
I mean, this isn't an actual Little John. This is a knockoff of
just the same shape or whatever is a.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, it's
the same thing like the jerkbaits. Like this is one of my favorite colors right here. Let's get it right. There we go.
Oh yeah, is that like a IU shad?
Yes.
That looks good. Ron, you do a good job, man. There's some good looking baits.
There's one of my other favorites, like a clear back with the black head.
Oh yeah.
With the yellow chartreuse.
Does he do any table rocks? Has he got anything like a table rock?
Oh yes. Yeah, he can do all that. And then just a regular shad pattern here as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good looking bait. Yeah, I need to get with him and get some different baits. I like a lot. Just looking at him up there at the Fishersville show. He had some really nice looking stuff.
Right. And then going back to the square bills, in early spring, once those bass start moving up too, and I've been there a few times, throwing the swim jig or whatever else, I'll tie on a bigger square bill, like a 2.5, and you have like this one with the brim pattern. It's one of my favorite ones with his brim pattern.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a nice looking.
And then, of course, the shad pattern, which is what I like, throwing right about now.
Man, that's money. That is money right
there.
Yeah,
it's some beautiful. He does some beautiful work, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I like a lot of his stuff, and like I say, he just ain't. But he's also getting into soft plastics as well, right?
Yes, yeah. He's starting to pour swim baits and some crawls, and I'm sure he's going to be, playing around with some other stuff coming up very, very soon. But he's everything he does is what can I say? Perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
He puts out a good product, and most people think custom crankbaits. They think money. They think, oh, this is expensive. I can't afford it. That's not true with us. Yeah. RBT's baits are very affordable, and the paint jobs hold up against. They take a beating.
Yeah,
and they hold up.
And that's big too, because a lot of people spend a lot of money on crankbaits, $30 and $40. You know what I mean? Like, they spend a lot of money on crankbaits just to get it painted, and they not hold up. They're scared to throw them. They're scared to hit a dock. Which you scared to? I'm scared to hit one with Strike King sometimes. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've busted a lot of them, but when you put that custom paint job on it, then you really don't want to hit it. But like his baits, it get down to that affordable price range where you don't feel so scared to throw a bait in the middle of something. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, he's got some really good looking stuff. And but guys, go check him out on Facebook, RBT Custom Crankbaits. Was it Custom Lures or Custom Crankbaits?
RBT Custom Baits.
Custom Baits. Go in there and check him out, and just look at all he's got. He's got a good selection of stuff. So, but Jason, before we get too far off of it, one thing I wanted to cover when it comes to fall cranking, and I can't remember if I got too far into it or we got off of it, but this time of the year, are you starting to? Because you can go anywhere right now. You can go on points, main channel points. You can go in creeks, in the backs creeks, in the shallow water. You can go to secondary points. What are the things that you're really looking for at this time of the year when it's throwing a crankbait? I say structure wise or relation to main channel to backs of the creeks.
I'll still start off on on some of the points going back into the creeks, but of course, most of it now is finding the bait, because the bait's schooled up this time of year. They're concentrating on that, and for me, so I start at the first point in the pocket or leading up into the creek, and then I just work my way back from there.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's big. Like, cause right now, I've had a lot of people ask us through Messenger and all that. Is like, man, what are you looking for in the fall? I can't seem to find fish, and that's what I always tell them. I say, find the bait fish first. If you got a graph, find the bait fish, because if you start seeing them stacked up on secondary points, the bass are not far.
Right, they might be sitting off to the side of them. They might not be feeding on them at that moment.
Yeah,
but if you're around the bait or you're around the bait, the bass will be there.
Yeah. And
they'll be close.
Exactly. And there's been situations too where I've gone on a point and found bait fish and cannot find, and I'm talking side scan and everything, cannot find a bass stripe or anything nearby, but I can go just to that dock on the inside of that point and start loading them. It's like they just kind of hold off. They're waiting for those shad to come by, or they're just kind of pulling off, hanging out there, and then they'll go back out on the point and feed. They'll travel a little bit to feed, and if there's enough structure on that point, they'll stay there. And they'll just hang out or whatever. But sometimes I've seen it where, you'll see bass, you'll see bait all out on the main channel point, and I can't find them, but I can go to that dock right there on the inside that point, or tree, lay down, whatever, something that's a little different,
right,
and catch them there. So,
right.
But
and even like this time of year as well, you see your school of bait or whatever, and you're cranking, you're doing everything else. Don't be afraid to throw a wacky rig Cinco over there in the middle of it. Just let it fall.
Yep.
And you'll be surprised. But even with the colder water, you'll be surprised how many bites you pick up.
Yeah, yeah. Always have a secondary. That's what I always say, especially this time of year. Getting all the way to the mid 50s, low 50s is I always keep a fluke and like a Zara spook or something or a popper or something on hand because they'll start coming up schooling hard sometimes this time of year, busting, and you can get something you can sling over real fast and catch them. So it's always good to have a bait ready to go to sling when you start seeing that kind of stuff because this time of the year is when you really start seeing them busting like crazy on them points and all that. So, well, Jason, I appreciate you doing the in-depth with us. I got another topic I want to talk about is what me and Chris was talking about before the show started was the merger with Bonafide and Native and Hurricane and what do they call it? Adventure something. I can't remember what they call it.
Big
now.
Adventures.
Big Adventures.
Right.
It's been a lot of joking going on the forums and all that stuff with everything. But if anybody knows Luther, knows that was not an easy decision on what he had to do when it come to moving Bonafide to North Carolina there at the Native facility, Big Adventures or however you want to call it. But you being on pro staff as well with Bonafide being on the team as us. But what was your first thoughts kind of going into it? I mean, was you a little concerned?
I was a little concerned, a little nervous, just because I'm like that with any change or surprises, because you just don't know what's getting ready to happen. But after listening to the interview and everything else, and I feel a lot more settled about it, and I'm just anxious to see what's going to come of it. What little changes. I don't think there's going to be any massive changes.
Yeah.
But I'm sure design-wise in the future, in the coming years, there'll be a few changes.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be anything drastic.
Yeah, and that's we was talking. I can't remember if we talked to you about it or not. When
I
Scott,
think it's going to be good.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's gonna be good.
It's going to be good.
And Luther's all because a lot of people harp on Bonafide really bad for not having a pedal drive system. And when he said it, he said if we do design something, I want it to be something different. You know what I mean? Something
right. It's got to be unique.
Yeah, not something that everybody else is doing. And there's so many different pedal drives out there now. It's even hard to, I would think, as an engineering standpoint, hard to design anything to be unique. That ain't going to cost you an arm and a leg to have. So, I would think what would be cool. This is just my opinion. I think what would be cool is if Bonafide got over there and they was able to incorporate Native's pedal drive system in the boat. You know what I mean? I mean, they're all the same company now.
Right.
But it would be cool to see that whole system come over into the Bonafide side. I mean, I still love having a trolling motor. Don't get me wrong. It is nice to be able to crank that dude up and tie on baits as you're going to different spots. Kind of like how the bass boat scene was, just slower. And and you're going to different spots and you're adjusting baits or you're graphing. You know what I mean? It's easier to do all that stuff with the trolling motor. But there comes to a point too where you want to cut the trolling motor off and you just want to fish, but you don't want to paddle. The pedal drive system would be awesome for something like that.
Right.
But I was a little concerned at first about it, but that interview Scott did was really good. He had all the key points. Like I said, there was some guys that we follow on Facebook and know, Barry and Drew and several of them other guys that I'm not naming all, but that are going to be losing, that lost their job. But that's tough, man. It's tough to be excited about that, but on the other hand, it's a double-edged sword, really. But
right.
But just to see the how those guys that are losing their job were actually still good spirited about it. You know what I mean? They knew what was they knew that had to happen.
Right. And even from reading some of the posts and everything, Luther and them are bringing people in to interview them for potential jobs.
Yeah.
So they're not just left stranded.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's great in and of itself, right there.
That tells you what kind of person he is. Because I'm gonna tell you what it's like when I got laid off.
You're just you're done. Here's
Yeah.
a check or whatever. Bye.
They had the cops sitting outside. They laid off 150 of us years ago, and there was no like, guys, I'm sorry I had to do this. It was like, business sucks right now, so I need you to get out, kind of, and you couldn't say nothing because, like you say, you didn't want to get arrested.
No.
But so for him to do it the way he did it, that's it's hard to be mad at anybody like that.
Yeah.
In a way, you're mad
Right.
because you're like, man, I'm losing my job. But in a way, you're kind of like, man, I got a lot of respect for him because he's helping me get another job. It's not like he just don't care. So, but I think that's gonna be big. I think it's gonna be big for the industry. But I'm just, I love the kayak and fishing scene. I love the bass boat side of things. That's why I get a little aggravated sometimes when I see some kayakers making posts about knocking bass boat fishermen. Because to me, sometimes I'm like, man, you're knocking what I love to do as well.
Yeah.
Because I think
I still miss it as well. I miss my bass boat.
Oh, I do. And I've actually looked at, the next couple of years, maybe getting a little project boat just to take the kids out, go fishing here and there, whatever, but not have a whole lot of money tied up in it.
Right. I miss zipping around on Gadsden and Bugs Island and a couple other places.
Yeah. I mean, the cool part about the bass boat side is, I mean, you, like I said, you can run from one end to the other and hit every spot down through there and come on back and hit them again before,
Yeah.
And do the milk runs like that. In a kayak, you got to kind of tighten up your spot.
Right.
And
you
do
can't
that.
you can't go to Chickahominy River and run tides in the kayak.
No. You kind of, once you're in there, you're like, all right, well, I got slack tide. God darn, I better hold on for a little while and see what happens. I mean, in bass boat, you could run the tide all the way down, or all the way up, or however you wanted to do it. Or, something out in the lake. I had about 4 coves in a 2 or 3 mile stretch. One was me and you said Indian and all them ones up through there. You run in, you hit your 4 docks. They ain't doing nothing there. Let's go to the next one. And excuse me. And if it ain't doing nothing, you come on and start from the beginning again and run all the way back up. That's what we did. And you finally caught them. But yeah, I do. And I see some of these comments the guys will make, about bass boat fishermen. But I've been in bass boats and seen kayakers do some pretty crazy things too myself. Cutting points when you're fishing them and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Casting over you. I mean, no one's perfect in this
Or
industry.
accuse you of cutting in front of them like that guy did us at Briary.
Oh,
that day.
man, that guy was madder than a hornet, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we fished Briary. We had Chris's John boat out one day, and the wind was blowing, but the guy was paddling up. So we went on by him.
Yeah, he was going the other way, and then he comes around and says, "Well, you guys
cut me off.
You cut me off. I don't appreciate that." And
Yeah. It was like, what are you talking about, dude? You was
were
going the other way.
That's what I tried to tell him. I don't care. And then okay,
Yeah.
whatever. We went on a better day, and we got to the boat ramp, and he was as nice as he could be.
Yeah, like nothing was wrong then. But
Yeah.
that's at the point when I was ready to say something,
Yeah.
like, hey, man, what's your deal on the water? But, I mean, that guy, but what he was doing, he was paddling up, and he was floating, letting the wind carry him back down and fishing this bank. He was drifting. But, that's just the world how it is. But but everybody needs to realize that that's why I get aggravated in the kayaking side. I see so much more complaining about this stuff. I love all the kayakers, and I have a good time with it. You know what I mean? It's a lot of great guys in it. It's a lot of good camaraderie when you get to these events. Everybody has a good time and talks fishing, but then everybody gets home to get on the keyboards, and everybody's
Keyboard warriors.
yeah, it's aggravating. That burns me up more than anything.
Get their Braveheart paint on and go to war.
The Braveheart paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I need a good laugh, I go to a couple of the pages, cat pages, and
Yeah.
scroll through comments, and I'll cheer up pretty
Speaking
quick.
of which, I've seen everybody's getting their special editions. Well, when do you get yours?
I don't know, man. I'm hoping soon, dude.
Everybody's getting the Black Widows, and see somebody.
I'm getting anxious.
Somebody. Which one are you getting,
my
Jason?
My son is getting anxious.
Yeah.
Which one are you getting, Jason?
The Fusion.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's what they're
Yeah,
getting.
it's gonna be for my son. The
I seen
107.
somebody got their bomber the other day. A couple
Yeah.
of them's been gone out. I think most people's got their Black Widows.
Yep. Journey's got them. I think Bob's up the Creek Outfitters may have them. I'm not sure if he's got
They
them
don't.
yet.
Bob's doesn't have them just yet.
Okay.
They're
somebody
on
got
the
their-
way, but we don't have a exact date yet.
Somebody got a Tiki. I seen that one.
Yeah. I think the Fusion's going to be like like somebody did a poll the other day on Facebook, and it was like, what is the most popular
There's a few.
limited?
'Cause I voted for the bomber because I like that one myself.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
Yeah.
that is a cool looking boat.
Ron RBT Custom Baits, he got the Black Widow,
Yeah,
I seen
and
that.
he sent me some pictures and everything else. It's a pretty kayak.
I
And
like.
I don't think everybody's burning it up because it's gonna be burnt. It's gonna be so hot in the summertime, this and that. And I don't think it is because it's not gonna be like fiberglass
You're
or
not sitting down in it
anything
either.
else that burns up in the sun. I don't think it's gonna be as bad as what they think.
Well, that's just like the dark green. Like the limited edition color, for instance. Look at that. That's a dark green boat, but you get out there in the sun, it's like where that plastic sits in the water. It cools, I guess. It doesn't really get that hot.
Yeah.
And the guy, Bonafide did another limited edition a while back for a raffle. It wasn't a limited edition; it was a raffle boat that was black. And people were asking the guy that wanted if it was real hot, and he's like, "No." He's like, "It." He said, "You can touch it; it's not that hot, but it ain't like a John boat. You get a dark green John boat in the sun.
That thing, mine, it'll burn you up.
Yeah, I mean, you cook
It's
eggs
like
on that
walking on the
dude.
sand at the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess that's why so many people put the carpet, put the decks on them and stuff. to
Yeah.
keep that-
yeah. Get the carpet down and all that.
Yeah.
And bass boat's the same way. You get certain colors. It's like the seats, like the vinyl seats, man.
Yeah.
Certain colors, buddy, will light you up when you
Yeah.
sit down. You got to put a towel down on the thing to run up and down the lake. But now I'm looking forward to those boats. I'm ready to get mine. I know that. I don't know what they said on the team deals, but I want to say it's sometime mid-November or something like that, Jason.
Yeah, that's the last I've heard.
Yeah. Which I need to talk to you after the show about that. But anyways, so and then now I don't know where we're going to pick our boats up because we were going to try to pick up. So that was going to be at the Bonafide where the factory, but I don't know where they're going to be doing it now.
Right now it's kind of questionable.
Yeah. Hopefully they didn't leave my boat down there at the other factory. Sorry, man, we already sold the factory off. But no. So, but anyways, yeah, that was kind of. I just wanted to get your take on that side of things. I mean, I think it's going to be good for the business. I think it's going to be good for the industry with that. So,
yeah, I agree.
I look forward to seeing what next year is going to bring. But Jason, are you going to try to make the Classic or anything like that, Bassmaster Classic this year? Or you got any big events you want to try to make this year besides just actually fishing them?
It'd be a dream to be at the Bassmaster Classic.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been able to go, but yeah, it'd be a dream to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good one this year, Gunnersville. It's just going to be weird not seeing a lot of the big names in it. Which I say the big names, but a lot of these guys that are in it are going to be big names, just as like how the other guys grew. So, really looking forward to that event. So, Krista, we got anything that has come in?
It's been pretty quiet.
I've seen some people in there talking, but talking amongst themselves.
Christine was just laughing, I guess, with the cat fiasco.
Oh
that
yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to replay that back later. And
Yeah,
watch
I'm
it.
going to save that for a blooper. I'm actually going to put that away to a file. That's going to be a blooper scene. I'm looking forward to that one.
I
But
mean, the phone was just doing a perfect 360 spin through the air when
I would have died. It would have sucked for Jason if that cat, you hear him just take off and you see crankbaits hung on his side. That'd have been, Jason wouldn't have been back on the show that night. He'd have had his hands full.
Okay, we'll do something else now.
Yeah.
You imagine it talking, I would have got.
Oh, man. Especially if you didn't cut your phone off and you can still hear it going on in the background. Oh, man. I appreciate that good laugh there, Jason. I know you didn't mean for it to happen, but it is what it is.
Yeah, usually the best stuff happens like that.
Yeah, you got to love live. So, but Jason, I don't have too much more to talk about, man. I do appreciate you coming on tonight. You've been a good friend of ours, a good friend, a good fan of the show, shall I say. We talk amongst ourselves back and forth off and on about fishing and things to do with the show. And but I'm looking forward to watching you next year, but also the pictures just you show of all those big fish. I mean, it's just phenomenal how many big fish you catch. And that's why we did the show, the man, the myth, the legend. I mean, it's just, I knew Jason would get a good kick out of that, but I knew that was the perfect title for Jason. I mean, it blows up when you go into a month-long event. I know I'm gonna have to compete against him, and I know I can't get to that lake all the time like he does. And if I did even get to that lake, if I'd be able to compete against him, because he just knows that water so well, he puts a lot of time in.
Because that place can be very tough,
Yeah,
very tough. And unless you've got the, several spots that you just got to concentrate on, it's hard. It's hard to catch a big one.
yeah. And I've seen pictures where we talked about it. Other people go up there and like, man, had a tough time, and then Jason shows pictures of, man, fishing was unbelievable today, or so it's like, man, well they're on the same body of water,
Yeah.
but yeah, I know it can be a tough body of water, but like I said, man, I'm really looking forward to seeing some more big fish being caught this year on your social media, which everybody they can follow you on. Where can everybody follow you at social media wise?
You can follow me on Facebook at Jason Hensley or Instagram at Jason Hensley Fishing.
And make sure you go in there and check him out. Follow him if you want to see some big fish pictures, because he's got them. He shows them. Also, looking forward to seeing you at I'm sure you'll be at the Augusta Fishing Expo this coming up year, right?
Yes, definitely.
See you there. And then we're going to be sitting in a booth.
I should be hanging around making some rounds at the Richmond Fishing Expo as well.
That's what
maybe not at any vendor, but if you see me up there, then feel free to stop me and talk.
Well, before we let you go, we do have a big announcement. We've been talking about it as with you coming on with One Objective and being on our pro staff. You've got a couple products on your boat now from us, and then we're working on right now with you getting a motor on your boat. So we're just up in there. You're still up in there which way you want to go, but for next year you'll be running a One Objective mount with some sort of motor.
Correct. Right.
So I do appreciate you coming on, and we
I
knew
appreciate it, guys.
We knew it was going to be a good pick to have you on our team, just because, like I say, you're great at social media. You get the job done. You know what I mean? You're not a
right.
You're not an over poster.
We get along great.
Yeah.
Christina says he's the bass
we have a good
whisperer.
time.
What did Christina say?
He's the bass whisperer.
Oh, he is. He can talk to him. But yeah, I think having you on is going to be big for us, and hopefully big for you in the long run. But we'll be up here at Richmond. We plan on having you there. So guys, make sure you come by and talk with Jason. Maybe get an autograph. We need to get you some cards, Jason. We need to get you some cards holding a big bass and says the man, the myth, the legend on it.
Yeah.
Maybe some cards in the shape of a bass.
Yeah, there we go. Man, we're talking.
Yeah.
But Jason, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank that's helped you out the last couple of years here?
RBT Custom Baits, K9 Fishing, K9 Fishing Line is best fishing line I've used hands down since I've been bass fishing. It's very affordable. It's a small company, and you can find it almost anywhere. They don't deal with big box stores. They deal with small businesses, but locally, you can get it at Bob's Up the Creek Outfitters, Journey. You can get it at Green Top. Green Top has it. So if you're local around Chesterfield, Richmond, you can go to Green Top and pick up some K9.
Yeah.
And they have the fluoro, which is your mono, your 100% fluorocarbon and braid as well. And it's all affordable, and it's low memory, and it's great. It's an awesome line.
We need to get with them and get them to be part of our Christmas giveaway, Jason.
Yep.
So get with them.
Yeah,
tell
definitely.
them to get with us.
Yeah, we can definitely work out something with that. And of course, we got Bonafide and Bob's Up the Creek Outfitters.
Awesome, man. Well, you got a good bunch of guys backing you, and Jason, like I say, thanks for coming on, man, and looking forward to seeing how you're good, buddy. Not a problem, man. You have a good night.
All right, y'all too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was a really good interview with Jason. Jason's been he come down. Chris, when was it when he came down to stay? We had a cookout. I think it was for my daughter's birthday.
Back in the summer, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, it was for my daughter's birthday. It's August. It's for my daughter's birthday party. So, Jason and his family came down, and we had a good time just hanging out. And Jason is just a down to earth dude. Like, you watch him, just sit back, and he don't get real excited about nothing until he catches a big bass. But he don't get real excited about nothing. Easy to talk to. So if you ever see him out anywhere you want to talk fishing, it's the easiest dude to talk fishing with. He'll talk fishing with you all day long. and he's just a character. He is funny. Once you really get to know him, he is a super funny guy. So, but we got to put that in the blooper reel. I'm gonna have to cut that out.
That cat. Oh,
that's probably like the funniest one we've had on the show right now. So
yeah, that was pretty good.
But anyways, yeah. So me and Jason really got to hanging out down in Louisiana. I mean, we've always talked before then, just off and on about fishing. He's been trying to get together and go fishing. I knew him from when we was on with Bob's Up the Creek Outfitters, and talking with him when he was back in a vibe and just doing really good, like he still is. So, anyways, go check him out on Facebook, on Instagram. He's got some really phenomenal pictures of some big fish and some really good companies backing him. And I see him growing into it. You know, like once family life slows down a little bit, he's really busy with family. So for him to make all the big events, it's tough. But I think he's going to be one to reckon with when it does get to a point where he can travel and fish a lot of these tour events. He's a really good angler. So. And he don't let it get him down. I mean, he keeps going. If he's having a tough day, he keeps trucking and don't let him down. So, but anyways, yeah, I really appreciate him coming on. Now, if y'all see right here in the front, right there, I'm gonna tell you what. You know, you got a good friend when a man's at Sam's Club and says, "Hey, man, do you want some of this nasty?" I can't say the rest of the word. Do you want some of these nasty things? And it's a picture of a moon pie. If y'all missed our show, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago? We got into a conversation about moon pies and how you really truly love moon pies.
I truly hate them. If you like cardboard covered with chocolate and styrofoam in the middle, there's your.
But look, man, that's when you get them in the gas station. They're not fresh. You get them like that, they're fresh.
If it was just come off the line, no, I still wouldn't eat them.
I love moon pies, but then I'm also a gummy, and I meant to bring this up for Jason because me and Jason ate the fire out of them things down at the national championship, which is the Goldie Bears there. Man, I love them things.
Real quick, Ron said send him a PM with an address and he will send you a giveaway box for Christmas.
Oh, all right, man. I appreciate that, Ronnie. I'll get with you probably tomorrow morning. I'll get you some information and try to get that in there because, like I say, we want to do a big Christmas giveaway, and we're trying to start to put all that together right now. So
Jason Hensley loves moon pies and gummy bears.
Yes,
I'll eat the gummy bears all day long, but them moon pies, y'all can have every one of them.
We had you got us 2 big bags of those for the national championship, didn't you?
Yeah,
we about killed both of them.
That's 72 ounces right there.
We about killed them going down. I ate the fire. That's probably why my guts were tore
moon pie.
up.
There's 24 moon pies in that box.
Oh man, me and James used to eat the fire out of them things on a bass boat.
I know the double deckers. I don't know if they're any different than the regular ones or not. But they call those double decker moon pies.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's just even more awesome.
Even more nastiness for you to eat.
But yeah, it was. If you ever got on James's bass boat, and that's one thing I liked about fishing with James and his boat, I would bring just enough. I'd stop at Shell or Sheets or whatever and grab just enough to get me through the day. You go on James's boat, the one compartment was Funyuns, moon pies, Welch's fruit snacks. I mean, man, it was anything you want on there. If you wasn't catching nothing, you're going to eat good. I can tell you that right now.
He had a compartment just for food in his boat.
Just about. There might have been some little tackle back in there, but it wasn't nothing you had to really get to during the day. You know what I mean? Like, all the good stuff was everywhere else. You didn't want to crush all that stuff up getting your tackle.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had days where we sit back and I'm like, man, we ain't catching them. Let's have a moon pie. And we eat one of those, and the day would get better for us.
Maybe we can convert the front compartments or kayaks to our snack compartments.
That's what we need. We just need a little Rubbermaid tote.
Yeah, it's a little tote 7. That'd be the snack compartment.
Yeah, snack time.
Yeah, snack time.
What do we do? Toodaloo-doo.
Yeah, a little noise. Have Bahama Mamas fruit snacks. Not Hot Mamas. Hot Mamas fruit snacks. Slim Jims.
Yeah.
Grandma's cookies. The ones you get the 2 packs.
Oh yeah, I love Grandma's cookies. Yeah. They are good. If everybody's listening right now or on the YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube tomorrow or whenever I can post the next couple of days here, let us know in the comments. What is your favorite foods that your must-haves when you're out on the water? Now, I know some people are gonna have some nutritional stuff, but come on, man, we'll go fishing most of the time. You eat junk food, you eat beef jerky or whatever. So I like to know what everybody likes to bring out on the water. What's their must-have? I gotta have this. And I just started eating those Big Mamas. Ain't that what they call it? Hot Mamas.
Hot Mamas. You hated them. Now you like them.
I could not stand the smell of them. And one day, all of a sudden I had this craving for vinegary stuff.
They sell those at Sam's too, but I didn't feel like I'd ever eat 35 of them.
No, I'll just pay the whatever at the gas station.
Yeah.
But you got to watch because sometimes they use trickery on you at the gas station because you think you're getting a regular one.
It'll be the Tijuana Mama. That
Yeah.
one's the super hot one.
That'll light you up.
Yeah.
That one.
That'll surprise you, kind of like when you ask for extra chili at Moore's Country Store.
Yeah, which that's a bad decision too. There,
Yeah.
that's a bad decision there, man. But,
Or does anyone carry a canned Dr. Pepper with them on a boat?
I know one man
I
did.
know one
His
man
name was
did.
Johnny Carter.
Yeah.
You get on a
I
bass
think he's
boat,
the only one that has the canned drink on a boat.
and then he's all mad. Then you're like, why did you open that on a boat? And he waits till you're, because most of the time when during a tournament, you're eating and drinking on the way down, and he wants to open a canned drink right before we blast off.
Dr. Pepper, caffeine free.
Yeah, which they're struggling now. They can't even find them no more.
Yeah, I don't think they make. I ain't seen them in a while.
Yeah.
Brian says he can't wait to hang out with us at the Augusta County Fishing Expo.
Who said that?
Brian Volpe, I think that's how.
Oh, Brian Volpe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're Journey. That's from
And
Journey.
Jason says drink the juice.
Drink the juice.
Yeah.
What kind of juice?
Yeah.
But,
Christina says salt and vinegar chips.
yeah. See, that's something I've been craving here lately.
So
Like,
she can have those too. I don't want.
you don't like salt
I
and
don't,
vinegar chips?
Don't want nothing to do with that either.
Dude, it hit me one time. We use a cleaning concoction my wife makes up with white vinegar and water, and it cleans stainless steel really well, and
Oh.
you clean a lot of stuff. So anyway, she started cleaning with that one time, and all of a sudden I started getting a hankering for vinegar stuff. I used to hate anything with vinegar,
Yeah.
so I started eating salt and vinegar chips. I started eating those Bahama Mama things because it's got that vinegar smell in it. I don't know what it is, but it's
Jason's got a good one.
What's that?
How many have come back to the landing missing a sock or a shirt sleeve? I'm sure you must have told him a story about
Oh man, I've we've had a couple of socks that go down in battle.
Yeah. And Jason says the hot mama sausage juice.
Oh
No,
god.
I like that's taking a little bit too far there, I
Yeah.
think. But
I pour that out
yeah,
I don't
we give that to the
to the fish.
to the fish.
Yeah,
or
for
whatever.
catfish.
Catfish, they like that.
Yeah. There's no way you eat
Yeah,
that,
but
Jason.
there's been plenty of sacrificial socks,
Yeah. Underwear.
underwear.
Yep. Yeah. I don't even want to go too far into that
Yeah.
story, but yeah, there's been some articles of clothing that's come missing,
Yeah, I've been witness to it.
Yeah. I get a lot of those embarrassing moments when I go out on the water. But I was talking about the national championship, and a lot of people probably already know. We've talked about it here and there in the story. But that was the closest I thought that I was ever going to die of whatever bug I had. I mean, right before launch.
You said it was something you eat, you thought?
I think it was one of those water burgers down there or whatever. Water burgers.
Whataburger.
Yeah.
They're real popular in Louisiana and Texas.
The first time we ate, Jason was like, "Man, you got to eat one of these. They're really good." And it was good food. Kind of reminds you like a Hardee's.
Yeah.
But the burger's a little bit better. But the second time we ate there after the meeting for the national championship, I was up at 2:30 in the morning, puking, everything. I was sick. I was messed up. And then I couldn't get back to sleep because I was in the bathroom the whole time. And Jason was like, "Man, are you sure you want to go?" I'm like, "Man, I'm gonna do it. I done paid all this money to be here."
Drove all that way. You got to at least show up.
Yeah, it was bad, man. But I do appreciate Jason and James and all them taking care of me when I was sick down there because I really did. I thought I was done. I was like, I'm gonna die in Louisiana. I don't like being in Louisiana. The state stinks to me. I don't know what it is. It's like everywhere you go because it's swampland.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's what it is. Just that.
I mean, not picking on the state. It's just swampland. It's you go down to Virginia Beach way sometimes. You get around some of that area where the Dismal Swamp is and all that just stinks. You know what I mean? And everywhere we go in Louisiana it stinks. And I'm just like, man. But the fishing's phenomenal down there. You can't take that. I mean, that's Texas and Louisiana's just got some phenomenal fishing. So we got anything else coming in before we get ready to get off here?
That's about it right now.
Well, guys, I really appreciate y'all tuning in tonight. I know this was a different show than we normally do with having a pro or, or somebody big. But, we like to keep our shows, too, where you got to bring in, guys like Jason and all them. They're big names around here. Nationally wise, do a lot of people hear about them? No. That's just like us. A lot of people don't hear about us nationally. But I like to bring attention to a lot of these guys because they're really good fishermen and they got a lot of great info and everybody can learn from them, And So I know that, we don't have one of the elites or bass masters, but to us, Jason Hensley is kind of, I would say, one of the elites around here in Virginia. He does really well and catches a lot of big fish and does well in the month longs. He's a hard man. He's going to be in the top 3. If he's in that event and can fish it good like he likes to do, he's going to be in the top 3. So kudos to him. I appreciate him coming on tonight. And right now, getting things together for maybe next weekend show. We're going to see how the schedule goes. We might be off next weekend. Me and Chris might go fishing. So, and then we got my son and them. They won their playoff game, so they're going to the Bedford County Championship. So looking forward to that. And hopefully going to Super Bowl the following weekend. But other than that, Chris, we got something coming in, or you just commenting?
Christina said, great show.
Thank you, Christina. Brian, appreciate y'all watching. Guys, make sure you go check out Journey Outdoors on their Facebook. They post a lot of amazing stuff with new hats that they get, new apparel
like the
they
one
get.
You're wearing tonight.
Yes. Oh, actually, I do. I do have the Journey hat on today. And then they're also a kayak dealer for many different brands, Bonafide and New Canoe and all them. So make sure you go check them out on Facebook as well and follow them. But anyways, guys, that's all I got to talk about tonight. James, we missed you, buddy. If you're tuning in, we hope you feel better, and looking forward to getting you back on the show. Other than that, guys, y'all have a good night. Please check out all our sponsors. Go to Facebook. Well, you're there now. But anyways, go to Instagram, follow us there, Twitter,
TikTok.
I didn't get a video tonight, but Chris got one, so you can find Chris. Chris, what is your TikTok?
Actually, I didn't do a video. You never handed me your phone.
Yeah, but you did one on yours, right?
No.
Okay, well, we didn't do one tonight.
We didn't do one tonight.
But what's your TikTok?
Holden G8.
Holden G8.
860.
Yeah.
Let me look it up real quick.
But so we're going to get, make sure you go in there and follow Chris too, because he does a lot of behind the scenes stuff with One Objective. And
yeah, Holden G860.
There you go. Make sure you go follow him and follow us on all our social media and our Twitter. Please go, Twitter, YouTube, please subscribe and hit the bell button. That way new videos come up, you can get it. And guys, we'll talk to you later. Y'all have a great weekend.
See you.
See you.